The demands on teaching now are far greater than they ever were.
You know, art is fun, and I think learning should be fun. And I think that kids need to be able to be kids and enjoy and love learning.
They're building their community, which is going to be essential later on. They're learning how to work together.
There's no way we're going to reach kids without the arts. It's just not going to happen.
LCI is a means to get students excited.
We need to build imagination. This inquiry-based method helps to build that imagination.
If my imagination is more active, I can imagine somebody else's position. It's what makes empathy possible.
I'd like to get journal just for a couple minutes on this question. As an individual, what do you bring, skill, attitude, knowledge, to this community?
You're going to translate that concept of enthusiasm into a movement or a series of movements. So, what might I do if mine was enthusiasm? What might be one choice I might make for a movement or a series of movements to express it, to kind of embody?
It's community building because they are with each other in many different situations. We call it the immersion. So they go in deeply so that they experience it as a student. We have a community of learners.
Poetry in motion is what comes to mind when you talk about Jean. Her energy kind of just goes out into the room and captivates everyone.
It's moving around, so that really gives us that idea.
We as team leaders and teaching artists are co-learners. We really are exploring together.
Select between three.
I have two incredible teaching artists, usually one a visual artist and then one in one of the performing arts. And their goal is to take the participants, the teachers, the educators, into that discipline, into that art form, and then towards that work of art.
And I think that's a synergy that happens when you have people like the teaching artists who are incredibly talented and the teachers from Maine who are incredibly talented coming together, talking about something that is imbued with creativity, that is art.
And we're talking about a sense of extension. So can you hear?
So my job is to say, okay, now that you've had this experience, let's see how it was created so that you can recreate those kinds of experiences for your students.
So what I have, the three primary are red, yellow, and blue. And what I've written down is red and blue makes, and I'm going to ask somebody to come up and write that down.
And then, after we had had that time to kind of see a range of different colors we could make, we were asked to create a landscape.
But the collaboration is really where it's at. And you look at their work and you can see that, oh wow, they did it a little bit differently, so maybe I can take that to the table.
We then think, okay, what palette, what color palette do we need to capture that landscape?
Although mine was no professional artist's rendition, it was a fun process and a creative outlet to really understand maybe what my students sometimes feel when I'm asking them to do things that they're uncomfortable with and that they don't have prior knowledge with.
Got us a deeper understanding of the use of color, of the sense of mood that's created. And all of that then made us more prepared to go over to the Farnsworth Museum and actually look at and engage with landscape paintings there.
in your interpretation, going to the beach day or the rough coast?
There's kind of leviathan of a rock here that's kind of pushing all the weight to the left side of the piece, and you have this tiny little boat in comparison, and I think it just adds this really ominous quality to that rock.
The idea that if you're not exposed to things that make you open up and release your imagination, you're going to always view your world from the same vantage point.
And that's something that every single person does in life. They have to make choices every day in all kinds of ways. And to study art is to study those kinds of choices.
Edged, bursting, watered, sheltering, serene morning tide's glory.
I think it's essential as a form of communication and expression and a way of bringing people together to share something.
They have seeds already planted that they will have a deeper engagement with that work of art and hopefully a personal engagement.
The delivery of inquiry and the process excited me. I didn't want to hold anything back. I felt like I had permission to make mistakes and to try something that I've never tried before.
I know how my students feel. Didn't we all say that?
That's right.
Now we know how our students feel when we put them on the line and say, you know, make this out of clay.
This is where the artistry comes in. I'm setting some parameters up and trying to facilitate.
Patrick, I found absolutely delightful. I really liked the way in which he started with tiny components and worked up.
Because you're setting up the possibility for them to have this experience that truly might be transformative for them.
We got up and we were dancing around with the different instruments, and all of a sudden everybody's saying, wow, look, you swing those hips and you got the rhythm, and thinking, is there actually within me this child who had music once?
This amazing jazz group come up from New Orleans, and the whole week was focused on New Orleans jazz.
I was tapping my foot or just wanting to get up and dance the whole time they were playing.
Yeah. With words, you can't all talk at once, but with music, you can.
And the trombone with his fills, the and it's just how playful it was, how they were playing off of each other.
You hit a beat, you're thinking boom, 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 boom. Every beat you can hit a microsecond early.
I think in my entire life I've never encountered a musical experience like that, where I was taken inside the mind of musicians, and I'd say even the soul of the musicians. Some of this was not rational, it was from the heart.
We loved it so much, we ended it with doing our own versions of it as we played our instruments walking around the Strand. So it was infectious.
I need to go do this. I need to go do this. I need to go try it right now. Give me a class of 24 kids where I can try these methods, where I can give them materials, give them the instruction, and then say, try it.
And spread them straight out, way out, Jake, so I can see where people are voting. You're right, we did make a trip to the Audubon. What were we trying to learn about birds?
Their eyes are like binoculars, so they can zoom on.
They're a sponge right now. You know, they're just at a prime time age for, you know, give me more information, but let me explore. Don't just tell me what it is.
Owls have it, so they don't need to go fly south and north.
Yeah. Mostly today. Is this the one you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. Give me the thumbs up if you all remember this one.
I love this one. We're going to talk more about that.
I think it makes them much more curious about the world, and I think that it makes them active learners. The experience of doing it allows them to create meaning that's important to them. I think that's what the LCI approach is that regular teachers can bring in art into any area of study. It's a great way to teach, and it's a great way for kids to learn.
So it's your job to put beautiful art on this paper that will tell a story about you.
I got to experience the practice as a student.
It's changing the way they teach. So if you have teachers who are excited, you have teachers who are continuously learning, they're going to bring that into the classroom.
This isn't just about teaching students to go into an art museum. It is really about how to get them excited about all kinds of material.
What we're really doing is we're using those components to deepen our skills of perception. And to me, that's what makes it an astounding process.
I may not have many years left in teaching, but I am going to enjoy my golden years with kids who are more excited. I know it works because it happened to me this week.